talk to you about gender equality. At recess one day, I observed something that made me feel uncomfortable. My friends were preparing to play kickball, and they took turns choosing people to be on their teams. After the teams had formed, I noticed that all of the girls in my class had been left out. I overheard the boys telling each other, "We don't want the girls to play with us because they'll make us lose. Boys are stronger than girls." These words upset me, but I didn't know what to do. Should I step in and defend the girls at the risk of being ridiculed by my friends? Or should I just pretend that I didn't hear anything and walk away? I ended up choosing silence, the easier option. Most of us choose silence when faced with a tough situation, but I've realized that by not doing anything to defend the rights of girls and women, I'm contributing to the unfairness in the world, and the idea of living in an unfair and unjust world scares me even more than what my friends will think of me. As a young boy, most people think my time is spent playing with my friends, watching TV, and doing homework. While I do spend a lot of time on these activities, there's more that I think and care about. When I hear about how girls can't go to school in some parts of the world, I get very upset and wonder what I, as a child, can do to help the situation. Most people would say that I can't do anything at the moment, that I should focus on going to school and getting an education, and that later in the future, as an adult, I can do something to help humanity. If this is true, then why do we see so many men, many of them educated, abusing and disrespecting women? Something must be going wrong in the way that these little boys are growing up to be men. I've had the unique experience of growing up with a strong education in the principle of the equality of men and women. Ever since I can remember, my mom has stressed to me the importance of respecting girls and treating them as my equals. If I ever happen to disrespect one of my three sisters, which is obviously very rare, I get a long lesson on how I should protect and honor women and treat them with dignity and respect, and that what makes me a real man is how I behave towards women. While this may be a little annoying at times, the principle of the equality of men and women has been deeply imprinted on my mind. On top of my education at home, I've learned about this principle from my faith as well. From a very young age, I've been a student in Bahá'í children's classes where we learn about the importance of the equality between the sexes and how humanity can be thought of as a bird, with men being one wing and women the other. If one of these wings gets injured or is not as strong as the other, the bird of humanity cannot fly. Because of all these influences, I see myself as a little boy with a big responsibility to make sure this idea of equality actually becomes a reality. I know it may seem silly that such a small child could influence such a big issue, but it's true. Actually, the future of the world rests upon our shoulders, and especially as boys, we are the ones who determine how women will be treated in the world. We have to change our behavior and choose to stand up for the rights of girls. We have to treat them with respect and realize that our world will continue to have deep problems unless we allow women to develop to their fullest potential. My sister asked me why I feel so strongly about this issue, when as a boy, I actually benefit from having an advantage over girls. I told her that the answer was simple. When there's unfairness in one area, there must be unfairness in other areas too. When it comes to gender, boys have the advantage, but when it comes to race, nationality, wealth, religion, or other factors, one group usually has an unfair advantage over the others. I don't want to live in a world where I always have to worry whether I won't have as fair of a chance because of these silly differences. I want to make sure that everybody is treated the same, no matter what gender, race, or religion they belong to. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." If I could go back to that day at recess, I would not choose silence. I would tell my friends that the game would be more fun if we included the girls, and that it wasn't fair to exclude them just because they happened to be physically weaker than us. I'm sure that some of my friends would have laughed at me, but that's okay. I could start a different kickball game with all the girls in my class, and then you would see who's laughing. As boys, and future men, I know we'll be faced with many more situations that will present us with tough choices, and we have to be prepared with how we will respond. I think parents can help prepare their boys to become champions of women's rights by teaching them about it at home over and over again. And as boys, we have to change our behavior. We don't have to follow in our father's footsteps or in the footsteps of those around us. We must choose to be real men and stand up for the rights of women. I don't want to live in a world where Nigerian schoolgirls get kidnapped and where my mom only makes 2/3 as much money as a man makes. I want to live in a world where equality exists. It's up to us to make this equality a reality. The responsibility of creating a fair and just world is on our shoulders. Let's choose courage.